I, like many other people, have seen a certain kind of British commentary from social commentators on this app offering opinions, basically saying if you're young and politically aware or not politically aware, or if you exist in Britain and you're not connected to either side, you shouldn't have an opinion on what's going on. And let me just explain why this is incredibly dangerous. It seems to be this like misled assumption that being British means that you shouldn't have an opinion on what's going on in Israel-Palestine, and being British actually directly impacts what's going on in Israel-Palestine, because Britain was the one who originally drew up the Balfour Declaration. Britain were the ones, driven by anti-Semitism I might add, because we wanted to expel Jewish people from British society during like the 1920s, 1918, who said that we should create a Jewish home within the state of Palestine. His Majesty's government viewed with the favour of the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the Jewish people. So not only was the British government directly involved in the establishment of Israel within Palestine, but then when Britain left, they created a power vacuum and the subsequent wars. They did not set up. Any single scholar, regardless of sides, will come to the conclusion that Britain left it as a dire situation. We left it basically as a power vacuum. War was inevitable. British colonial officers washed their hands of it and they were like, we're going home now, we're no longer the empire, like we don't want to be involved in this. Britain has a deeply connected history with Israel-Palestine, and as British people, we should have opinions on this. You should research yourself. I find it incredibly disingenuous that people on this app with platforms are telling young people, be careful, don't have an opinion, it's complex. This notion that the average person shouldn't have opinions on British foreign policy, when both political parties right now are advocating for the siege of Gaza. What do I mean by this? I mean the fact that both Keir Starmer and Rishi Sunak have come out and said Israel has a right to defend itself against terrorists. And when the journalists sit there and they go, okay, but what about the siege on Gaza? What about cutting off electricity, water, food? Do you support that? Well, it's not for me to decide what is wrong. It is for you to decide what Israel do. As an international community who, I'm getting ahead of myself, but as an international community, we all have a duty to uphold international law. As part of the UN, we all have a duty to not watch this happen. One of the biggest contentious points about Israel-Palestine is the fact of the Nakba, which was the mass expulsion of hundreds of thousands of people, and the fact that they did not have right to return, which essentially means people born, raised, living in Palestine who were expelled during the 1948 war could not return, could not own land, even if they had proof that that was their house, was not allowed. And the US have come out and they've said, we will support the removal of Gazans. If they need to flee, we will come up with a humanitarian way to be involved with that, because people care about people's lives. However, this is not done with the right to return. This is ethnic cleansing happening in real time. And obviously it's an incredibly convoluted issue, but it's a convoluted issue that British people should care about, and they should research, and they should have an opinion on, because it was our foreign policy that created it.